Well, the emirship crisis in Kano State has again brought to the fore traditional rulers on the democratic governance in the country. There's been similar crisis in Anambra and Abia and other states. How do we manage the relationship between traditional rulership and civil authority, and what should be the role of various levels of government? I have with me Dr. Sam Amadi here in the studio. It's good to see you, and thanks for your time. You know, I recall then some musicians had actually sang songs like religion is politics, but today we're getting to see traditional institutions that almost everyone would go pay homage to and say, look, I'm apolitical, being the ping pong of politicians. How does this impact our life as a people? But first, did this development in Kano come to you as a surprise?
Well, I think it was a surprise to the extent that we didn't expect that the governor and the House of Assembly would tackle the issue of Sanusi's removal. I mean, we saw how he was removed, and it's quite about 2-3 years has lapsed since then. So it wasn't in anybody's mind that the next trigger in Kano politics would be this. We saw how the governor barely escaped, removal. Got removed by the Court of Appeal. Supreme Court gave him a release, and we know that the politics there has been almost like too intense. Almost, thankfully, we evaded serious violence. Okay, so we know that Ganduje, Kwankwaso group, in serious fight, and again, we also saw Ganduje being removed, being suspended for his word, and finger pointed at NPP being the one that engineered that. So that battle has been on, but we didn't think that the proxy war would now be the Emirate. So things first, if the governor didn't move to, cancel what was done by Ganduje, right or wrong, we won't be here today. So the governor took that decision, the House of Assembly passed a law nullifying the law that was passed by the House of Assembly under Ganduje. All these are legitimate constitutional responsibilities. They could make any law they like. But then fight back. First, a court order saying, don't install. Conceivably, from a legal perspective, that installation could be seen as violating the law, because a court order is a law that ought to be obeyed, conceivably. So you now see two issues. The House passed and enacted a law, the governor acted on it, dissolved the Emirate, reconstituted the Emirate, installed or tried to install the new Emir, or the former Emir. And then before the court comes in and says, don't do anything, then this other group moves in on that force, gets some support from wherever we don't know, and now, so you now have two. So we didn't expect that this weekend we'll be dealing with this kind of crisis. But again, that's how politics works. The whole thing is politicized. The entry of Sanusi first time was politics. I mean, he fell out with Jonathan, got kicked out. Kwankwaso there, who was the governor, with some support of APC leaders, got him in. And then he fell out, Ganduje, who was part of that system, he fell out with him, Ganduje got him out. And now a new government comes in, gets him back. And so it's really tragic that traditional institutions are asking for autonomy, independence, a sense of authenticity. We want to have traditional rulers be authentic as a different form of governance. But incidentally, they get more subordinated and subjected to the civil authority. And it's a legacy of colonial rule. I mean, we saw whether in the northern Nigeria or southwest, we had some kind of traditional rulership. And so that traditional rulers were first invaded, overthrown, and the colonial authorities gave them recognition, meaning this far, you can't go beyond. So they chartered them, they defined their legality. So they didn't express the same level of authentic traditional powers they had. So they have to now are the sovereigns of the colonial authority. So today the democracy is even worse.
No, you said today it's a democracy.
It's even worse today in the democracy.
Again, that's where I was headed, because now you dethrone, you also banish and bar someone from even stepping in that, arena,
Domain,
that domain.
Yeah.
So how does that work, looking at a constitution that also gives you freedom of movement?
That's really, that's constitutionally doubtful if they can have that. But again, the traditional notion that two kings don't stay in the same domain. In the past, when kings are dethroned through traditional system, they could be banished, could even commit suicide, depending on what traditional norms and rituals that are embedded. So this idea is the idea that, look, we can't have two kings. Okay, once they dethrone you, we banish you, you go away to allow the new person to stabilize. But again, you're dealing in a modern democracy. That's why I say we need to rethink these institutions. If you really want to carry along the traditional institution, we have to chart the boundaries of their legality and constitutionality. What can they do and what can we do to them? So you can't banish a citizen from entering a state. No, even if it's not a native of that state, you can't even banish any Nigerian from entering, residing in any part of the Nigeria. He has a right to be there. If he has no property, then he could stay with people. So the notion of banishment is no longer constitutionally sensible. And that's why we say there's incoherence. How do we want traditional institutions to operate? Yeah. So one arm is, look, we stop recognizing them. Let them be part of a traditional system that its recognition is traditional. And so if you're the emir of Kano or Sokoto or Sultan or Obi of Furniture, whatever you are, it's the people within that cultural enclave that recognizes you. The state basically, we're a republic, by the way. I mean, the inconsistency, a republic cannot have traditional rulers in that sense that we used to have. We don't remember that. You can't have emirates. It's republic. And what that means that a republic, that's why even England that has a real established monarchy is called constitutional monarch. Their roles are not subsumed to mere ceremonies. So really we need to be careful how we construct. Whether we have the authentic cultural institutions, then they exist on that cultural authorization and not state authorization. Or we basically push them away. And
Dr. Amadi, now let's look at it the other way, and it has to do with the protection of lives and property, which are cardinal responsibilities of state. And in this light, let's look at what security concerns this may now bring upon us. Earlier today, there were a lot of pushback by the supporters of the dethroned emir. And now we're dealing with security agents and agencies that are already overstretched. And now Kano, so do politicians or political leaders think of security sometimes when they act upon some, because there's been some kind of relative peace. I recall, now you just reminded us, when that Supreme Court decision was about to be announced, everyone was apprehensive, saying, Kano, I hope nothing untoward happens. But now, looks like the oven is on.
I mean, you made a point. You see, politicians don't think about anything apart from power. I mean, this is real power grab. There's no developmental reason for either reconstructing the Emirate now, basically. I mean, this is basically like the Sanusi said, now Emir Sanusi again, he said, injustice was done to me. So basically, it's a case of I was removed wrongly, then my political allies bring me back. And the other guys who claimed that he ought to be the one, who was now, Sanusi was removed to put the rightful person, quote unquote, is not claiming I was wrongly removed. So the point is that this political game does not consider the implication. Already, if you look at the Voice Popular, Arise TV captured some of the views on both sides, very strong views of the right thing is A is right, and the people will say B is the right thing. And so if you're not careful, you could find conflagration again. And again, look at the Supreme Court decision. It was a decision based on law, the Supreme Court saw, but it was a political safe decision for everybody. So legally, yes, the Supreme Court followed their own logic around the case, but politically it was safe. We said, oh, thank God that the governor remained, because if the governor was removed from the Supreme Court, nothing would have stopped a major blow out of violence. But coincidence, the law and the politics seem to arrive, whether coincidence or scripted. The point is that we are happy that it didn't happen. And now they want to push us back to this point. And for me, really, I don't see any principled position here. What I see here is politics. They won in 2014. It was politics. Taking the Emir out was politics. Bringing the Emir back was politics. And now rejecting him, or if it happens, politics.
Is there a recipe to stop this? This is us closing on this conversation. Is there a way out to stop this cycle of politics, which, if you want to qualify it, looks dirty?
But yeah, sure. It's similar to happen in Anambra. So when Soludo had to depose Anobi, whatever, in the southeast in Anambra, who gave title to political opponent that sounded like his own. Allegedly that was prison, but yeah, he talked about disobedience. See, it doesn't make sense to think that a traditional ruler, traditional institution, properly so called, could be charged for disobedience to state government. So for me, the solution is, look, yank it off. If you guys don't really want a real traditional institution, yank it off. The elected leaders, governors, councillors, chairmen should run everywhere. And these guys should be peripheral, cultural things. That's my view as a Republican, okay? But if you want to have them, I have no value for cultural institutions that are not democratic, because really, they have function culturally, but politically, I don't see what they're doing. Everybody can be elected. You have a councillor, you have a village head, you have the town unions. So, but if you want to have them, then protect their dignity. The notion that governors can make them playthings, okay? Governor recognizes them, governor hears them if they don't behave, it doesn't serve culture, and it doesn't serve democratic politics. So we got it wrong on two ends. Neither do we have real traditional rulers as they are, nor do we have, political leaders in them. So that's the problem. So solving it is go back to drawing board and not have a constitutional conversation. How do we script the powers? Should the governors really be removing these guys on nebulous claim of maybe disobedience or don't like them? No, I don't think that really dignifies the traditional institution.
Okay, Dr. Sam Amadi, it's a fine place. Always a delight having you, and I'm also saying one of the takeaways there from you is irrespective of what you do, protect their dignity and the dignity of the institution. Dr. Sam Amadi, a Rice News analyst.